Hello everyone, my name is Ben and welcome back to PASSTHEauxCORD, a channel where we left this off at track number 8, Hysteria, which is a really great song, one that I personally enjoyed a lot, and is definitely one of my favorite Muse songs now. There had been a lot of various topics covered on here, a lot dealing in some much more serious subject matter than some of the stuff from Muse. A lot darker of a tone in general on this record seems to be taken, and there's not a lot of things connecting each song to each other, which I have found slightly frustrating, but at this point they seem to be covering such a wide variety of things that I don't really know how you would have made it fit into one project anyways, so I'm looking past that, and I'm planning to enjoy the rest of this album quite a lot because it has only been getting better as we've gone along. The next track is Blackout on here. Another slower cut, possibly. Ooh, that sounds very nice. Damn, this sounds so smooth. I love those very subtle backing vocals. This sounds so beautiful. Wow, this is different, alright. They have a really hefty bag of tricks, always pulling out something new on this record. I'm never expecting it. Damn, that was a lot. That was a lot right there. That was very emotionally potent, is a really good way to put it. Clearly, this song is taking some very existential thoughts and feelings, talking about being in this kind of age where you're still old enough to realize that there's death that one day you'll have to face, and that time goes very fast, and before you know it, you're much older, but not being old enough to be entirely concerned with the impending nature of it. That last verse on there just hits really heavy. That was, yeah, a lot to take in. And the very melodic and slow tone to that one, again, much like a little bit before it with Falling Away With You, really made the song sound like what it was trying to convey. Incredibly beautiful track. Bittersweet doesn't begin to describe it, but at the same time, that's definitely the feeling that we're going for here. Butterflies and Hurricanes is the next one. It's an interesting melody here. I'm pausing here at this very dramatic moment that's going to have like a conclusion of some kind in just a second here, because I want to note that I have no idea what it's going to do next. I really like that this album has avoided becoming predictable, and that's going to be represented with the fact that after this very dramatic build-up, I don't know if it's going to get really loud here. I don't know if it's going to suddenly strip way back. I'm not sure if it's going to do anything in that lane at all. It may just do something entirely unexpected. Time to find out. It's kind of just staying with its rhythm, alright. Love how you have so much orchestral instrumentation going on here. It's not just the typical rock stuff. I love how well this demonstrates my point of it being unpredictable. And now we're back to it, alright. Damn. Yeah, that track was insanely dynamic. Had so much going on just in this one track, you know, and yet it all seems to fit together cohesively. It all seemed like it was still supposed to be in this same song, because you had some of those piano elements going into the first portion of the song. So when you had this really wild piano solo in there, it still felt like it had a place in the track. But yeah, completely unpredictable, and the unpredictable nature of this album is what makes it a lot better than it could be. This could very easily just be something inoffensive and very regular, just kind of pop rock sounding, but instead it is doing a lot of different things. Lyrically, I could criticize this in a lot of the same ways as I did the track Invincible from Black Holes and Revelations, in that it mostly seems to be focusing only on being a motivational track. This one felt a lot more genuine to me, and maybe that is just the context of the album, in that the last one was reflecting on mortality, and this one is telling you that you need to do a lot in the world before you can't anymore. Butterflies and Hurricanes, I have to imagine, refers to the butterfly effect, where what is referred to is just the smallest change can cause a very large chain reaction and cause astronomically different results. So doing your part to shift things in the way that you want them to be can end up being completely revolutionary. At least that's what I'm getting from the track, and it feels like it just fits really well next to the one before it. You had kind of a darker side of things on Blackout, and this seems to be a much brighter take on it. Yeah, love that track again. The Small Print is the next one. Okay, we got some heavier stuff again. What the fuck? What are you doing to me right now? Fucking insane. Mixing is fucking wild. The way that comes in is so good. God damn. Oh, this solo is fucking killer. That hits so heavy. Damn. Drumming is so good on this track, too. That was insane, man. What the fuck? Apparently this song is about selling your soul, and I can totally see that in the lyrics. They are somewhat abstract and feel like something that you should interpret your own meaning from, as a lot of Muse's lyrics tend to be. I guess I'm just gonna go with the common interpretation here because I do totally see it. And that song sounded absolutely crazy, man. That was wild. It took some of the heavier elements from earlier tracks, but it did more than just be another heavy Muse song. Some of the mixing and the effects going on in there just really caught me off guard. That vocal effect that comes in at the beginning of the chorus is absolutely wild. I mean, that song just really did it for me as far as the more intense tracks from them go. Yeah, I mean, it still has not let me down in the way that I thought it would get better and better as it went on. Endlessly is the next one on here. Interesting sounding percussion here. Sounds kind of hollow. Ooh, that second synth melody in there sounds very chilly. What are some of these effects, man? It's just this weird little sample going on in the back on the right side. It's so bizarre sounding. Sounds so ominous. That's really nice. Okay. Yeah, that track was really weird and experimental in its sound. There'd just be these constant little samples or effects that just totally throw you off. And I really appreciate the attention to detail that was put into that, as well as a lot of the other things on this album so far, because it really makes it more rewarding to focus only on the music and the intricacies of what is going on in the sound. The song to me seems to be about a ongoing relationship of some kind where essentially our narrator here has vowed to never give up on it, even though they probably should, as there's a lot of issues, and they won't ever let them down, as the song says. They won't ever give up on it. So kind of bleak, but at the same time hopeful, I guess. Yeah, I guess this was described by Matt Bellamy as a basic love song. I think there's hope in there, even though I'm dealing with generally dark subjects, is the quote directly. So I suppose that makes sense then. But I really liked how experimental that one was in its sound. Really kept it interesting, kept it from just being another song here. Thoughts of a Dying Atheist is the next one, and an incredibly interesting title. Oh wow, this is a totally different sound to it. Man, this is a lot. Whoa, the lyrical content there is a lot to take in. I mean, the title sums it up very well. The coping with death theme is something that we've seen since Blackout earlier on the album, and is no less impactful and potent to hear about now. And the sound of that really just took some more like rock-leaning tendencies. This was probably one of the most normal ones on here. It just had a very distinct chorus, some catchiness to it, just a lot of like really regular guitar, drums, things going on here. But really that, once again, kind of paired pretty well with what we're hearing here. This could have taken a lot more of a dramatic sound and twisted it up in a different way, but I feel like on this it just represents the fast-paced nature of what the narrator is thinking here, and something about it just really fits, I guess. And yeah, that's really hard to think about. Ruled by Secrecy is the next one, and I think this is the actual closer. If I was reading properly, I think that Fury is a bonus track. We're gonna listen to it either way, but I think Fury is a bonus track. Going back to some more pianos here. So dark and eerie sounding. Okay. That picked up a lot. More use of pianos again. Okay. Honestly, I don't have a lot to say about that closer. I was kind of expecting it to do a little bit more than it did. Instead, it stayed fairly mellow the entire way through. There was the one very dramatic, sudden point in which it got a lot more loud and kind of did a little bit more with the sound, but I don't know. I guess it just didn't seem like it was very monumental in comparison to any number of closers we could have had up there, and it would have felt more cohesive if any number of them were. Unfortunately, that ends up being kind of one of my least favorites on the track list here. There's speculation that this song is about the Illuminati or the New World Order. There's definitely been some Muse songs that seem to have a little bit of tinfoil hattage going on. Could see it, I guess. Matt Bellamy apparently gave a direct interpretation of what this song is about, and it's rather outlandish and explains absolutely nothing in relation to the song because I don't see this anywhere in the track whatsoever. The general take is that Ruled by Secrecy would imply that there's a secret organization running the world around us. So I'm going to go ahead and go on to that interpretation, which is really kind of a shame when the back end of this album seemed to be so focused on mortality and things like that. Maybe if I was more engaged by this narrative, this way of thinking, maybe I would find this song more interesting, but sound-wise too, it just didn't seem that engaging to me. I know that the bonus track on Origin of Symmetry ended up being a pretty good closer, despite it not even being the actual closer, so we're going to go ahead and hope the same for Fury, the last one we're going to listen to on here. Ooh. Loving that riff, alright. It's better already, honestly. I can just say it's a better song. Sounds really nice. Love that lyric. It's got some of the heaviest riffs on the album. Very nice breakdown going on here. Yeah, that's actually a way better closer. I am completely fine with just forgetting Ruled by Secrecy even exists and just calling that the closer. Lyrically, this actually ties up quite a bit of what was going on before, just in its themes. This is definitely taking commentary on religion, which is far more related to mortality and that sort of idea than the ones immediately before it, at least. This especially connects with thoughts of a dying atheist, in that it's kind of a critique on religion in that way, or just outright ignoring it, or rejecting it in a way, I suppose. But yeah, that sounded absolutely massive. I loved the riffs on there. Very good stuff in that regard, for sure. Yeah, I don't know if it needed to be 5 minutes, though, is my only critique with that song. But otherwise, I feel like that actually works as a really nice closer to the album, which is actually more oftentimes than not how it goes with Muse. So that album in general, definitely didn't disappoint based on my previous experiences with the band. I'm not sure that it lived up to Origin of Symmetry for me, but I guess I have to give this a lot more listens. I feel like this is definitely going to take some revisiting from me for me to really know exactly how I feel about it. But I will conclude the things that I definitely know I feel about this album. I think this has some of the most interesting Muse songs, hands down, no problem about it. In most cases, this was just barely avoiding becoming just another Muse song, but in the little bit that it did, it ended up becoming a totally different experience. I feel like the only times you really fell into that was Sing for Absolution, Apocalypse Please, and maybe Ruled by Secrecy. Those tracks to me kind of rang as just, yeah, this is exactly what I'm expecting from the band. But when you have 12 more songs that aren't included in those at all of those did extremely interesting things one way or the other, or at least just really entertaining things that kept me very engaged with the experience. I have to say, I really do at times wish that this was more cohesive with its themes and its thematic focus, its general lyrical structure all throughout the album, but at least the focus was kind of there in that the sounds all felt like they were put together in a pretty cohesive way. You can look at it as minute as just the fact that pianos were used a lot on this album. That's not something that I picked up on, at least as much on the other albums, but on here it was very, very present on almost every song. So it does kind of do some things to feel like it fits together well. Overall, that's definitely one that I am going to be returning to. I didn't dislike this experience at all, even if I was somewhat critical towards a couple songs. Even those ones, don't mind them at all, and this definitely has some of my favorites from the band, and that's actually saying quite a lot at this point. So let me know what you thought of this album down in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Drop a like on the video if you did like what you saw today, and subscribe to the channel for more music-related content coming your way. Hit the bell for notifications on that same thing as well, but that is just about going to wrap it up for this one, and I will see you in the next video.